By the end of this video, you're going to be able to be with your social anxiety in a much more meaningful way that doesn't spiritually bypass and meets it exactly where it's at with a compassionate, curious understanding. So this is for people who, spiritual practitioners especially, when you hear a lot of teachings like things like just rest as awareness, just notice sensations with bare attention, right? But then you get thrust with these teachings and this understanding, perhaps after meditation retreats, perhaps after a lot of self-inquiry and hours of sitting in meditation at home. And then you're thrust back out into daily life with this new heightened capacity to feel your experience. And you get completely ungrounded when you're in a social situation, to the point where it feels like you're dissociating. It feels like you don't know what's up, you don't know what's down. There's a lot of resistance in your experience and a lot of internalized blame and shame on yourself that you may not even be overtly aware of. That's what's happening. This comes at a time when, this morning there's been a bit of emotional integration for myself, and there's a natural ebb and flow between expansion and contraction. So I wanted to share from direct experience what it might look like to meet these uncomfortable energies. And that will then transpose into your daily life, where you can then experience this sort of degree of attunement to help relieve and resolve and understand yourself in a much more meaningful way. So this is going to be very practical. I'm not going to make this an intellectual piece as much. So I would invite you, especially if you're feeling the residue of social angst, if there's that residue of emotional contraction, wanting to distract yourself, wanting to watch YouTube videos like this one even to not feel or get some guidance. The idea of this would be that you watch a video like this, and then when you feel that sort of social angst and that charge, that you then turn directly to your experience with curiosity, rather than trying to use spiritual videos or Netflix or porn or like video games to avoid meeting that sensation, or even using spiritual techniques like rest as awareness, or frivolously trying to apply a technique. Frivolously, is that a word? To move through that sensation. So right now, you can skip to this point in the video if you want to watch it again at any stage. Just settle into the chair. And just notice anywhere that your body is holding tension. You might notice your forehead. It's holding a little bit of tension. It's bracing a little bit. And just scan through your body with a neutral, compassionately curious attention span. Just scanning through, moving part by part through your eyes, your nose, your cheeks, your mouth, in the middle of your mouth, maybe through your chin, maybe through the sides of your neck, through your shoulders, just softening in. You might just notice your breath simultaneously, breathing in and out. Don't need to change it, don't need to alter it in any way. If it's deep, it's deep. If it's shallow, it's shallow. And just on the exhale, you might just breathe in, breathe out. Feel the weight on the exhale of your body against the ground. And then just move through the body part by part. Through the arms, down through to the forearms, the fingertips, through the back. Just imagine like a radiograph, like you're sweeping through the middle of your body, through the front of your chest, the back of your chest, down through to your back, through to the front of your core, to your glutes, your thighs, especially the glutes, thighs, and groin region. They tend to hold a lot of tension. So see if you can soften into that, and soften into it even deeper. And soften into it even deeper. You might take another breath on the exhale, soften into it even more. Moving down through your legs, into your knees, into your calves, and into the ground. So there may be tension in the body, right? Especially if you've just come out of a socially anxious encounter, traumatizing encounter, not just social anxiety. This can be for anything really, but for the context of this video, we'll say social anxiety. What we're now going to do is, if there is that real strong pull into the sensations or a strong pull away, wanting to avoid them, just see if you can put your attention into whatever feels most uncomfortable in your body. Often if you just relax your attention, it might move naturally into that place. And just see if you can open up to the fact that you do have the capacity to feel that. You don't have to avoid it. This is your space to be with it fully. In fact, you definitely do have the capacity to be with any sensation, and this capacity will continue to grow the more that you do these sorts of practice. And just see if there's any tension that might have reaccrued in the body, maybe in the face, maybe in the chest, maybe in the arms. And you're just bringing that natural, curious, soft, relaxing attention into it, and just see if you can open up the cells almost containing that energy of discomfort and discord. So the more that you can soften in, the more that you can relax into that sensation quality that's really uncomfortable. Or maybe there is an uncomfortableness at this place, maybe there's relaxation, but if there is that discomfort, that's what we're going to focus on for this video. So your attention, again, it's soft into it. We're not coming at this with like a furrowing in, trying to get rid of it. It's curious. It's looking to understand, as if there was a scared child tugging at your leg who was terrified of the boogeyman in the closet, and you were a loving father or mother with a lot of capacity to feel. You're going to turn to that child and just be with it fully. It doesn't need to be anything different than what it is. You're just going to pick it up. You're going to hold it close. You're just going to be with it curiously, with a willingness to want to understand it. And you might even ask that part in a way, so what does this emotion suggest about me? You can even ask that to yourself right now as you feel it deeply. Don't force it. Don't come from a place of headiness. What is it? Am I doing this right? I can't feel. I don't know what's going on. Can't handle this. I don't know why. I just can't be with this sensation. Don't listen to that. Just gently, or listen to it, but gently turn your attention to it again as if it were a child, specifically toward the sensation, if there's any doubt. And just turn your attention right into that sensation itself. And again, you can ask, what does this emotion suggest about me? And just listen. It's like a down and outward movement. You're just listening from a place of unknowing while feeling that emotion fully. You're letting it express through its eyes how it sees the world. We have to put ourselves out of the way to do this. You have to put your egoic identity out of the way to do this. We have these inner parts of ourselves, inner children, call it inner child model. IFS is pretty similar, internal family systems, I believe. If you just be with that sensation, the key is to let that sensation speak. And it might say something that you might not expect. I'm scared. I hate this. I don't want to go out ever again. This sucks. Why am I like this? something like that. Now, again, you attune to that with such tenderness, such love, such unapologetic, neutral, compassionate acceptance. And you might even just feel the words connect to that sensation very directly. For example, I don't want to be like this anymore. Feel that. Let the emotion itself speak. Don't let your mind take over here. Let the emotion speak. Stay in this luminous space. You can be here. Maybe there's a tension somewhere else as well. You might just soften into your whole body. As you acknowledge that, you may also notice that the acknowledgement of such a sensation and such an acknowledgement of the rawness of that emotion helps it move through the body. So if the body needs to move in any way, if it needs to twist, if it needs to shake that energy off or move in a certain way to harbor that, let it do it. Don't hold back. You might see, as you acknowledge that emotion, that emotional part, if there's any resistance to it as well. You might imagine yourself in a social situation while feeling that emotion, and you can intone to yourself, I am completely allowed to feel this in front of everyone else. And see if your body says no. See if it rejects that. No, no way I could show this to other people. So you're trying to elicit that resistance by doing something like this, like a reverse inquiry here. I'm allowed to feel this uncomfortable sensation in front of other people. See if there's any resistance. No, that would be too shameful. Be too weak. That would make me look weak. That would make me look stupid. And just acknowledge that part as well, as if it were another child in your experience, just with curiosity. Doesn't need to go anywhere. And if that is the case, you may feel into the utility of such a emotion. Like, what would it get me to have that program active? Answer that for yourself, but maybe it's something like validation. Maybe it's something like acceptance. Really let the emotional aspect speak, not yourself, not your ego, not how you take yourself to be. To finish up, you may relax your awareness outwardly. Like, step out of your mind, step out of the intellectual mind. A good prompt for that is to listen. It's like you're listening to ships in the harbor off in the distance. Step out of the intellectual mind. Rest in beingness. If there's a thought that you can't handle this experience, or I don't know what that is, just notice that thought, surf it like a wave, gently, not pushing on it, not pulling on it, allowing it to dissolve back into consciousness, and then just allow your attention again to rest out and just be in that space. Just with that sense of warmth, acceptance, gratitude, and appreciation for the fact that of who and what you are. You're not your story. You don't need to be your story. You can let go of that narrative here, and you can just rest and abide in stillness. And if there is tension, if the attention wants to move back into the body, you can allow that to do that gently and compassionately. There's a To use that analogy, an inner child screaming at you through an unpleasant sensation, and resting as awareness is unfeasible for you because attention is so gravitationally being sucked back into the vortex of that sensation. Then you might just do that same process that we felt into. What does this emotion suggest? What does this emotion mean about me? And again, just soften into it and allow it to speak for you. Allow it to tell you, not what you think of it, let it tell you. And then just relax your attention out once that softens again, and you may just abide in that place once more. So I'm going to end the inquiry session here now. Practical inquiry into the somatic landscape of our experience, something I might do in a session with people with struggling with social anxiety to understand themselves and to much more deeply accept themselves. You can do this for any emotion. You can do this at any time. This particular video, I'll do a follow-up video. This is particularly after the fact when you've been triggered. So there are other more appropriate strategies perhaps, which if we can do this sort of thing in the moment, that's great. But this is sort of after the fact to help acknowledge and understand with deeper compassion these different parts of yourself, why you do what you do, why you are the way you are, and how your body has adapted with time to be with energetic discomfort in social situations, so that these things happen quite quickly. So to slowly and gently pull it apart at the level of the felt sense, the emotion body, will help you have much deeper self-compassion for yourself. In the next video, I'm going to talk about actually some practical strategies to then recruit into daily life when we're actively being triggered rather than sitting in a more engaged process like we just did right now. So I'll see you over there.